My 3-year-old daughter is in hospice and my mother-in-law wants to take her to Disney World for a week. Soon, I am going to be out of this family. I have a beautiful little girl who is almost 3 years old. She's just a few weeks shy of her 3rd birthday. My baby was out in hospice 4 weeks ago after having gone into remission in late May. Unfortunately, the cancer has returned, except it is now crushing her optic nerve and is about 8 centimeters long. Multiple doctors recommended we make our daughter as comfortable as possible as they do not believe removing the tumor is a good option. I have so much to say regarding her diagnosis, but heartbreak will suffice for now. My husband and I have made many memories with her for the past few weeks. We've included family in some of these memories, but we want to spend as much time with our daughter as possible. My mother-in-law called me yesterday to tell me she booked tickets, hotel, and airfare for next month's trip. It sounded fun until she said she was taking our toddler with her. Just her, my daughter, and her husband. She did not invite my husband and I. My daughter isn't even 3 yet. She has never stayed overnight anywhere, and her mother-in-law wants to take her for one entire week alone across the country. I suggested that my husband and I both go that way so our daughter is comfortable and, for God's sake, in the event she dies, she can't be gone for a week. Her nurses are here. Her care is here. I suggested that we all go for a shorter amount of time. I came up with various suggestions, all of which were turned down. I should add that if my daughter was not in hospice, I still would not be comfortable with our toddler being across the country for a week alone without her parents. My child being in hospice adds another layer of complexity to the situation. I told my mother-in-law that her decisions alone without consulting us were a solid no. She called me a few names and hung up on me. She then called my husband and called me a few names and suggested she would fight for rights before my daughter died. I'm already grieving. My husband said we should acquiesce to his mother's trip to avoid drama, even though he agrees that our daughter is too young. But I want to spend time with her before the cancer takes her. She's too little, etc. I said no for various reasons, not just to say no. Mother-in-law is grieving. I have suggested to her various times that she seeks someone else to grieve to/vent to because she often believes and acts like our grief is the same and that she's going to have a mother's broken heart. My therapist has also told me that her and I are not in the same circle of grief. Even my own mother doesn't act like that. My own mother has even told me she cannot fathom being in my shoes because she's never lost a child. It's a twisted situation, and I feel like when my daughter is gone, I want to be as far away from this family as possible, my husband included. She has repeatedly said that no one is going to miss her baby as much as she is. I just sit there thinking what is going to happen when my daughter passes, and I'm falling apart. Who's going to hold me up? Right now my daughter is my motivation. But once she's gone, I don't even foresee myself being able to get out of bed. I've been a stay-at-home mommy to my daughter for her entire life. I left my career to be at home with her. I don't even remember what my life was like before I had my baby. I feel like my mother-in-law is going to make my daughter's death about her, and I don't know if I'll be able to handle it. He and I discussed this morning while our daughter was still asleep. I told him that I currently do not foresee myself staying married to him once my daughter is gone. Not after this. Not if he doesn't stand up for his daughter, his wife, and our family. He looked pretty shocked, but I'm pretty set on not having anything to do with his family and him included. I thought he and I were a team, but he's been spineless with his mom most of our marriage, and I'm usually the one who is setting boundaries. I think my daughter having cancer and being in hospice is what broke the camel's back. Edit. I am close to my family, specifically my mom and aunt. They know the wishes I have for my daughter. My husband and I argued about where our daughter should be buried for a good week. It was awful. He wanted her buried with his grandma and where he and his parents would be buried. I wanted her buried at the cemetery where my grandparents are buried at and where I plan to be buried at. My husband is in the military, so I'm confused as to why he does not want to be buried with his combat brothers, but that's entirely up to him. After this fiasco with his mother, I put my foot down about where I would like my daughter's final resting place to be. I just never thought it would be so much back and forth about where she would get buried, the week-long trip we weren't invited on or consulted about, and acquiescing his mother's wishes. Poop show to say the least. I love my husband, but I am appalled by his behavior. I should also add that my family was very supportive about where I wanted my daughter to be buried at when the topic came up. They even said wherever we want because it's not their choice. I even entertained cremation just to try to reach a middle ground. I didn't even want to discuss burials and cremations until I had to. I've been avoiding it. Now, it feels morbid to discuss it because my daughter is still alive. My husband's family was upset when they brought up the topic, because I didn't automatically want my daughter at their cemetery of choice. Their main argument was that my daughter carries their last name, so she should go there. My argument was that my family already has 4 open plots, and I want to make one a double for me when my time comes. I'm even exhausted writing this. Because this is my life, and it shouldn't be. We should be a team. United in grief. Now, I feel like all I have is my baby and my family to hold me up. Final edit. My daughter has begun slowly deteriorating, and it's become very overwhelming. My husband now realizes that this time is precious. We are on borrowed time, and our time, mom and dad, is the most critical. We've had 2 sessions of grief counseling/couples counseling while my daughter sleeps. Our therapist has helped us both understand how borrowed our time is and how this time truly is for us. Everyone else is secondary. Not to say that extended family isn't necessary. They are, but there is a lot of extended family. A lot. However, I'm not sure I will stay married in the long run. Although, this isn't the time to make such a profound decision. I am emotionally drained from all that has transpired this past week and this past year. You truly see people's true colors when poop hits the fan. An example of this is on my phone. I have 8 different alarms each day for my daughter for all of the medication she takes daily. Daily. I have been the one who flushes ports, administers medication, cleans up vomit, gives back rubs, and the like. I have been in this through the thick of it, having to learn everything. Because no one else will, my mother has been the only person who has asked how I'm doing. Who has brought me coffee and meals, held me when I cried, and been a rock. My husband will sometimes be emotionally present, but he's usually not. Other than my mother, I have never received a text from any other family asking how I'm doing or how they can help. Like I said earlier, I see everybody's true colors. My focus right now is my baby. I will focus on the rest when the time comes. But for now, we are surviving and trying our best.